All right, I'm going to call to order the LAPC meeting for today, September 25th, 2025. I've already captured attendance, so we'll get moving on down the agenda. Has everybody seen the May 2022, May 22nd meeting minutes? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes unless there's discussion about it.
Motion to approve.
John.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved. Any opposed? No. Okay. Fiscal report. So I sent out the meeting packet with everybody. I have a copy of it here if you want to see it. And we'll talk about appropriations later at the end of the meeting. But the budget's outlined. The only thing that has been spent out of that, I did spend $199 to buy a battery tender that mounts to the emergency management truck because it's sitting so long, the battery kept dying. So, and we're gonna need that, especially to haul that trailer around if we do have a hazmat incident. So I used the equipment fund to use that $199. The rest of the cost that was with the invoice I paid out of my EMA budget, so. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the fiscal report.
Motion to approve.
Mike McQuarrie,
Second.
John Pauly. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. All right, on our old business, item number 4, I was going to hand out the appointment letters to Jeff Griffin and then Bruce Price, but neither are here today. So I'll just email them and send them to them. And then I'm still working on the LEPC exercise for October 9th. That's going to be a 4-hour exercise from 10 to 2. We'll take a break in the middle and have a lunch. But I think it'll be a pretty decent tabletop exercise. Please make sure that some members of your departments come to that. It's going to be important because next year I would like to do a real exercise, not a tabletop, but an actual activity based around this. And I'm going to try to get some grant funding for that to help build that exercise for next year. Clint, I'd like to get with you and a few of the others and go over the exercise before we get finalized, because we won't have another meeting before October, so I'll holler at you. All right.
Do we need to vote on those?
No, it's
members?
just information. Oh, on the,
New members?
no, because they were, we did that at another meeting where we voted to approve them. So Bruce is a proxy for Matt Schreck, so
Oh,
we
okay.
we didn't have to vote him in, but we did for Jeff. So, any other discussion on item number 4? All right, moving on to new business. I don't remember if I sent these to you guys in a packet, the appointment to remove those, but since Randy has resigned or retired and Kelly resigned, on the packet that I sent you, I put the wrong information down there. I was looking at Robert rules when I did it, but it's actually pursuant to Indiana Code 1325-1-6 to remove them. So I updated that on my stuff that I'll send to the state. So do you guys want to do them one at a time or do them both at the same?
I think we can do both together.
Yeah, I'm fine. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Scott Jones,
Second.
Mike McQuarrie. All right, have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So moving on to item 2 under, I believe that was 5, new business. State funded us again. We received $4,325.05 for the LAPC budget. We have to get approval from this committee to appropriate the funds, and then I have to give that to the county auditor and to the county council and do another appropriation for them.
How much was it?
$4,325.05. So I outlined kind of an idea. These are our budget lines that we have currently. I just put money in them, and I'm open to discussion. It doesn't all have to go the way I've got it listed here. But if you guys have an idea of what you would like to spend that money on as it relates to, our hazardous materials incident response, I'm open for suggestions. So with the appropriations, I put 500 in other supplies, $50 in legals, since we have to publicize our meetings once a year. I use that to pay for the ad in the newspaper. 500 in other services, and that's just in case there's something comes along that we need or need some help with, we will have that money. Programs and education supplies, I put 250 in that line item for your approval. That's to buy educational materials, things that we could probably pass out to schools, or help in that area on people how to be safe. And then 25 in internet. And then I put $1,000 in emergency notification systems, and then 2,000 in equipment. One of my thoughts were, before we make a motion, either way, but one of my thoughts is possibly taking the 2,000 that I put into equipment and maybe splitting that, put 1,000 along with the other 1,000 into emergency notification systems. Because currently right now, I have what's called Tango Tango on my phone, and it's an app that lets me communicate like I'm holding a radio. So I thought if we could build up some money in that account, then we might be able to afford to provide that for all the departments, for law enforcement, fire, volunteer, and city, EMS, and emergency management, sheriff's department too. So, and even if we can't do it this year, you guys want to do something else, I'm like I said, I'm open to suggestions. I just thought that was a good use of that funding. That way, nobody likes to carry a radio with them when they're off duty, but all of us need to know what's going on. So that's a really good app. I've had it for me and my team for about 6 months now, and I love it. So, and there's other apps too, so that we can do the same thing with, except for Motorola, they're outrageous. So. Is there any other suggestions? You guys want to talk about it, or you want it like it is? We can change it at any time. We'll just have to, when we change something, I'll have to take it back to the county council and have them change it. So just so you know.
Motion to approve.
Got one motion.
I'm sorry, what was the motion for? I was going back here and looking at Tango Tango stuff on myself, because I remember it being pretty pricey when I demoed it. So that's why I was curious how much it was costing you annually, because it was so much initial.
I think it was,
so much
I
up
think-
front, and then it was an additional charge for each channel after that.
So right now it's costing me $1,100 a year for my team.
So for the one channel,
Right.
right? Well, I guess this was a 3-year commitment when we demoed it.
I told him we wouldn't go for 3 years.
Right, but, let's see. No, yeah, they quoted us, it was $29.95 for the year for the first channel, and then $14.95 per year for every additional radio channel after that, so.
$14.95
That's when you.
for the
said-
interoperability.
When you said that, yeah,
Mhm.
for each additional channel,
Yeah.
because we demoed, and I did like it. I
Mhm.
mean, it was, it was convenient, but I couldn't justify the cost of that. And, but that was just, we initially just had it set up for, myself and
Right.
my assistant chief, but,
Well-
and the nice thing about that is, you know, you use it, you know, which it was through cell towers.
Right.
You know, but it communicated through the 800 system.
Mhm.
But, you know, it's like the AT&T FirstNet that we're demoing right now. If you're in a bad cell, you know, in a bad cell area, which I tried, it's no different down there
Right.
than Verizon.
Right.
You know, I lost service, so I didn't know if you were gonna continue that service or if we're still looking at other avenues, because I know we demoed. Remember
Well, it was
we
Tango
demoed,
Tango
we
and then
demoed, was it Rapid?
Active 911.
Active 911.
They were pretty decent too. However, they weren't approved on IPSC's system yet, and they're
Right.
still going through that process. So you can't really, it would be pointless for us to get them if we can't use them on the 800 system, so.
Right.
But I actually like their service, their features better on Active 911 than I do Tango Tango. But until they're approved by IPSC, that they're kind of it's a dead horse.
Right.
So, but I'm open to suggestion, and if the service you're trying out now works just as well, and we can come.
It seems to work really well. Before, in recent years, AT&T was known not to have very good service here. They did install a new tower up on Summit, and, excuse me, so we've got a couple of their demo phones, which AT&T was awarded the government contract for the FirstNet,
Right.
which is a completely separate network for first responders. You don't compete on the tower,
Right.
you know, with anybody else. It's on the AT&T tower, but it's like a completely separate
Right.
network. And then they also were given permission to use the IPSC P25 system. So it has push to talk also, which works really well. We've tried to push to talk. We don't have you actually have to subscribe to the service before they can submit the information to IPSC and get permission to put it on there, all that stuff. But the push to talk does work really well, but it's just like the system that you're using. If you get into a
Bad area.
bad cell area, it's no matter what system you got.
Yeah.
If you're using a cell phone for anything, it's, you know, you're gonna lack service. I did have another Zoom call with AT&T, and because I wanted some more information on, and now as far as the city goes, it works great.
Right.
But, you know, I get questions on how well it works in the county, so therefore, you know, when I get, you know, north, it did pretty well. I was surprised. There was one time where I actually was on the phone on my Verizon cell, lost the phone call, and it still had service. So that being said, my next question to the AT&T guy was, okay, for these county departments, if they get out into an area, at what point will they start I didn't have any clue where the surrounding towers were at. So he did call, and we had a conversation of where locations for their towers, which wasn't aware of. You know, there's one in Metamora, there's one in north of Brookville, there's one in Centerville, one in Strawn. So when you start getting in, say, farther north, like if you say, for instance, Bentonville was
Right.
interested and had them, at some point in time, they should be hitting another tower when they
Right.
get so far away from this one. We do have, believe it or not, 3 AT&T towers in Fayette County.
Yeah. There's just
one
nothing
out-
in the south.
There's one,
Right.
yeah, there's one at 450 east, right there at 44 and 450.
Yeah.
The one here on Summit, and then there's one on Tower,
Right.
Tower Road. So east to west is good, north to south not so much.
Right.
But all that being said, it's virtually the same service, just using, you know,
Different carriers.
the Tango, though, has to have its own equipment that you
Right.
have to integrate into your
Yeah,
radio
right.
to do that. They have the ability to integrate any talk group on the P25 system. All they have to do is get permission from IPSC, program it in your phone, boom, you're done. And it's.
I like that.
And
know we talked
the
about it.
pricing that they submitted possibly to the city, if what they wanted to switch, was less than what I'm paying for my Verizon phone right now.
Is it really?
For my work phone, yes.
Uh,
It says I mean, if you're already carrying your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously these new phones are dual SIM, so you could actually have your personal SIM in the same phone as you're carrying this work SIM that.
That would be nice
that
not
is-
to have to carry two
That is
phones.
P25 capable, right,
If you have, like, let's say your personal phone's Verizon,
it doesn't matter.
and you can
It
have
can be a
another one
different-
from
It can be
AT&T
a
on.
different carrier. yeah.
Okay, that was one of my
Yeah,
questions.
cause I mean, cause I have Verizon, I've actually considered switching, several times, but until that happens, and you can stick or an eSIM, you can, if it's an eSIM, you can program it to whatever carrier, so. I like it, like I said, in the city, I don't think there'll be an issue, it's just
Right.
getting out into the county, especially in the south, in those low
Right.
lying areas,
But,
but
and
it's
I
gonna
think
be
it's the same issue with us with the radio, so we're already
Right.
losing signal and can't communicate with radios.
Right,
So, but, I mean, even the sheriff's department guys had it, or,
Right.
my guys had it in the county or the volunteer. There are places we're gonna get that signal, it's just there's some spots
that-
until
right,
they
and
change
that-
the towers.
that might be something for those county departments, because I know all their members don't currently carry they don't have all 800s.
Right,
So that might be something they could look at also, but just AT&T is making a presence in town now, when before, I think it was pretty well known that they
Right.
were, there was no service here.
so,
But that's something that it just, when you talked about your Tango, it made me think, I went back, because we demoed it, and I did like it,
Yeah.
but it was pricey.
yeah.
And so we passed on it until, we, found a better option.
Well, like I said, I'm completely open on this budget. I have no agenda with it. I don't have any plans to spend money out of any of it for anything, or not right now. Eventually, once we get enough money built up in our budget, then we can start looking at equipment, things like that we need as a hazmat response. But,
Now,
I
when you
just.
say that, you mean you wanna save up in the fund?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Fund
every
is a
year
handful
that
of
they
things.
refund us, I'd like, to keep building, this money doesn't revert.
So you have, okay, so you have a fund.
Right.
That actually, okay.
Yeah, and eventually, I mean, like right now, if we do this with the new balances, it shows what will be in each one of those line items. So, and it's still, $5,000 is not a lot of money, spread out, but eventually we'll start building that up a little bit, and then we'll be able to do a little more. So,
So it's not, even if it's approved, it's not set in stone, it can still be moved later on down
yeah,
the road. It's
yeah,
just
we
a
just have
process.
to, right, we just have to do the process, so, and that would be me bringing it to the board, or you guys suggesting it, and us voting on it, then taking it to the county.
So do
Council.
you need to move some funds to that as a
Well,
line
right-
item to cover your Tango for now? or
No,
you
no,
good?
I'm
Oh,
paying
okay.
for it out of my emergency management budget.
Oh, okay.
So, actually, I got grant funding, I think, to pay for that, so.
Are you under a contract for like
No,
a year?
I told him I'd do 1 year, no contract, so, that way if something better came along, or.
Yeah, I mean,
Cause I
like
liked active
this-
911, but yeah, if that works too.
Yeah, obviously this there's some other apps on there that I asked what they were for, because you have to create a login to use them, and he said that they were apps that were equivalent to those services that had like a mapping. And that's something else that's completely aside from the FirstNet. It's just an app, I believe it's called Rapid Response.
Right,
Yeah, Rapid Response for first responders, and he's said that was, mapping, location, like for your responders and stuff like that. But just specific to the push-to-talk, that's a completely separate thing that's specific to the
Public
AT&T's
safety,
FirstNet,
right.
yeah.
I've heard good things about it, FirstNet.
Yeah, it's-
I mean, it's a big deal in the statewide, but we need to make a decision, because right now, this money is sitting unappropriated in the county general budget, so it can't be used for anything except for our committee, but I want to get it into line items, and if we need to move it, I'm more than willing to entertain that, but you guys tell me what your preferences are with it. So,
Well, right now you have a motion.
I do. To approve it as is. Okay?
Correct.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
By do think the AT&T has potential for us, especially moving forward. But
But, yeah, and two, I don't have any plans to spend any of this money on anything right now. That's gonna be a committee decision, so, it's just gonna go into these line items and then, we'll deal with that. If we need to move money from something to something, we'll do that as we can, so. All right, that covers everything. I entertain a motion to adjourn
Motion.
Second.
between you and John.
Yep.
Motion to adjourn, have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion, meeting's adjourned.